Go, go. Ranger Rabble. Go, go. Ranger Rabble.
Deep in the mountains, secret ninja academies train our future protectors. Ancient scrolls told of 3 who would be chosen above the others. 3 who will become... Go, Power Rangers! Go, Ninja Storm!
Let's go!
What is up, everybody? Welcome back to episode number 6.
Heyo!
That's 6 of Ranger Rabble. I'm Kyle D. Over here we got Leo V.
Dude, we have a whole team worth of Ranger Rabble episodes. We're up to 6 now. Holy crap.
Yeah.
We got our own
And,
team going.
And I've always wanted to do that Ranger opening in that voice because it's awesome. But episode 6, we are talking about Power Rangers Ninja Storm.
Yeah, man. Very excited for this one. This was a groundbreaking series in a lot of different ways for Power Rangers as a franchise. Rewatching this, it's kind of cool to see where their head was at and kind of how they took a whole new spin on a franchise that had been doing pretty well up at this point.
Yes, and this is one of the first seasons to start off with only 3 Rangers on a team.
Yeah, man. 3 Rangers, first blue female, first yellow male.
Mm-hmm.
So they were going with a lot of firsts. First season that they filmed in New Zealand, I think
Yes.
first one of the Disney era. So needless to say, they were not messing around this first go.
I personally liked this season. I liked the way they added more Rangers to the team as it went on, and how all of them had to basically find their powers essentially and whatnot. And the samurai journey for Cam, that little 3 episodes, 2 episodes, was
whatever that little arc was.
phenomenal. And Lothar's one of my favorite villains, honestly.
He, I think, is one of the few villains that actually did some damage throughout the season.
Mhm.
It wasn't just like, okay, a couple moments of badassery here and there. No, he was actually like, his plans never worked, but they weren't completely terrible plans. It wasn't completely leaving him shackled to just relying on generals or
Yes.
he didn't have a very good slew of generals at all. Chubo was the useless kind of one, and then he had his nieces or some sort of family.
The two girls, yeah, his nieces.
Yeah, so that itself was a weird connection. Other than that, like he was a pretty badass villain. This was a fun thing to find out. The original premise for this season was going to be Power Rangers Hexagon. So it was essentially going to be a team run by Tommy Oliver, and they were essentially like not just saving one specific town like the Power Rangers do.
Mhm.
This was more of a global, planet-wide threat that they were going to have to deal with. From what I understand, it was going to be Prince Gasket, Archerina, Scorpina, and Lokar, that big like blue face dude from Mighty Morphin that they used as a bad guy for like 2 seconds. And so it was going to kind of be like a Civil War esque between the Power Rangers, where like Hexagon, run by Tommy, was like the government agency of Power Rangers. There was a rift between Rangers of either wanting to or not wanting to be like governmentalized in that kind of way. So kind of like they did with like Marvel's Civil War, but with Power Rangers. That would have been a very interesting way to go about things. And overall, I don't hate the premise for that, but I don't know that it would have been as successful as a full season.
Yeah.
I mean, they had just come off of Forever Red, so they were in the process of like pulling a whole bunch of people back. So if they could have gotten a good team together,
to start off, like how they got chosen, they were in the Ninja Academy and whatnot, and like they were doing. I'm pretty sure they were doing well, but not too well, right? Like I think Dustin had a problem.
Most of them, I think, like all 3 of them, because they were always hanging out together. They were usually either late or just like overall looked at as undedicated. They didn't fully kind of commit to their ninja training. There was a kind of fourth wall break at one point where Dustin goes, like the Power Rangers, those totally exist. Like not knowing that he would become a Power Ranger 20 minutes later. Their school ends up getting attacked by the villain of the season, Lothar, who is kind of strange looking, but also a pretty badass villain. Like definitely up there on the list of the more hardcore villains, I would say.
Yeah.
He shows up with his version of the putties, which are the Kelzaks, which are essentially just black putties with like a ninja ponytail esque kind of thing. There's not
Right.
a whole lot of definition to them.
Didn't they like run weird? Didn't they danced when they ran, right?
I can't remember if they did like a weird like arm thing or if that's a different team of putties. They were again just kind of like Foot Clan, if you will, to the Shredder. Just very there. There wasn't a whole lot of pure meaning to them, to say the least.
Yeah.
During this attack, the Lothar and the sensei of the Wind Academy, their energies collide, and somehow that turns the sensei into a guinea pig.
A poorly CGI made guinea pig.
You know, the CGI of it wasn't awful, but I don't know that they needed a guinea pig as their mentor. Plain and simple.
Yeah.
Like it was really just not necessary. Like if you're gonna make your sensei turn into something, it wasn't even like guinea pig was something that was like, ah yes, this is clearly ninja related, so
Yeah.
it didn't even go that way.
Unless like, and this is just me thinking outside the box because, well, being inside the box is scary. Maybe he turned him into a guinea pig because Lothar thought that a guinea pig is a defenseless creature, and he viewed the master. Oh, that was a good one, Kyle. He
I like
viewed the
that.
master as a defenseless creature. Ha! Ooh, big brain moment. You see that, guys? I'm not just a pretty face. Sometimes I'm smart.
Sometimes there's a pretty brain. So they get brought down to their ninja ops base, and they are given their wind morphers and told that they are going to be Power Rangers.
And there was much rejoicing. Yay!
And like we said, this was a first team of just three, so it was kind of
It
cool
was
to
interesting.
okay. There's only three of you, and it's not even like a blue red pink. It was like blue red yellow, which was
Mm-hmm.
done before in previous Sentai seasons, but never before in America.
We saw Dustin become the Yellow Ranger, and that's the first male yellow, like you were talking about.
Yep.
Tori, who I thought was phenomenal. And yes, yeah, Tori she's very nice. And then Shane with the Red Ranger. I liked the suits this season.
Yo, the suits were really cool this season. Very
I
basic.
like that. I loved the helmet.
I did. It took me a little bit to get used to the fact they would always like pull back the visor and the mouthpiece, but
Yeah.
I at least enjoyed how they did that because it at least made more sense than like the 2017 version where it was just like open faced
Yeah.
sandwiches the whole time. But yeah, like they had it was pretty much all their solid color, and then they had kind of like a chainmail uh esque kind of sleeve, and then their respective element on their chest. They had a couple of cool weapons that they would combine together because Power Rangers always got to have some cool weapons you got to put together. So you had the red Hawk Blaster, the blue Sonic Fin, which is just a megaphone, and the yellow Lion Hammer, which would combine into and they also had their tsunami cycles because
Yes.
this season was, I guess, the Rangers outside of their Rangering were into like action sports. So Tori was surfing, Shane was skateboarding, and Dustin was motocross.
Motocross, yep. I think it was like the first episode where they didn't know how to do something, and like Dustin figured it out. Dustin like put it to the ground and disappeared or something like that.
It was morphing. They were all like, okay, so like, what were we told? We have to say something, and like, but they were never given their like
Yeah.
motions or anything, so that was just kind of all on the fly. But Dustin was the one that was like, all right,
Dude, watch and learn. Ninja Storm! Ranger form! Ha!
watch me. I got this.
There was a lot of good comedy in this season. A lot of like office style humor. Like one of my favorites actually is when they finally have a full team of Rangers. Lothar goes, "When will they run out of colors?"
I mean, technically, in this season, they could have moved on to two different colors, but they kind of used two of the same colors in a different shade. But we'll get to it.
Yes.
So this season has a low, like it had a low key kind of start for me. It was very much three friends having to learn how to actually work together as opposed to just being friends. Shane was very much the lone wolf at first, like he just wanted to do things by himself. Dustin, as like unfocused as he could be, was also very reliable as a Yellow Ranger. And then like Tori was just she was a badass, plain and simple.
Mm-hmm.
Plain and simple. And she very much got looked over as like a tomboy, but she did bring a lot to the table as far as Blue Rangers are concerned. Lothar, it turns out, was able to get his hands on his own set of Power Rangers. Were introduced to the Navy and the Crimson Rangers, which have kind of like bug look to their helmets.
They were Beatles, I think.
After we meet our evil rangers, we are introduced to two new humans, which are not related to the two new rangers at all. They're completely separate. We meet Blake and Hunter, who are fellow dirt bike riders. They were essentially being lied to and told that the Wind Ninja Academy was responsible for the death of their adopted parents. They were working with Lothar just because he was able to get to them first. Blake and Hunter essentially kidnap the sensei and take him to like this cave of lost souls where they try to like find the remnants of their parents. The ghosts of their parents come back and essentially tell them that Lothar was the one that killed them. And so it kind of sparks this like clearly we don't trust you, Lothar, but we don't trust that we don't trust the other guys either. So it gives them a minute to like kind of go off and recenter and kind of be like, okay, clearly we were lied to, so we need to decide what we're doing. We get to know Cam a little bit more, the son of the sensei, and we find out that he's actually pretty skilled in the ways of ninja. I mean, with your dad being a sensei, I would hope you picked up on at least one or two things. But it turns out that the sensei doesn't really let Cam do ninja stuff because of a promise that he made to his mother before she passed away. That leads us to the samurai journey. Cam essentially uses a time traveling scroll to go back in time and search for the samurai amulet. So he goes back in time and meets a younger version of his father. He finds a younger version of his mother, and he also finds out that his dad has a twin brother. So he meets his uncle for the first time. The uncle is using dark ninja powers and is banished into space. And in his banishment is like, I will now be known as Lothar. Dun dun dun.
And it does that really cool, like when he says the name, it like flat the energy in the thing flashes and you see the Lothar mask on him briefly. And it was kind of a jump scare, like as a kid, like, whoa. But now watching it, you're like, oh, that's rad.
There's a lot of family drama that unfolds in Power Rangers, and I think this was the first time that we had it really unfold on the villain side instead of the Ranger side. Ham ends up coming back with the samurai amulet, and he gets samurai powers. He becomes the Green Ranger, and he gets like a helicopter Zord and like a pretty diesel amount of power. Like it for someone who was already pretty trained, This
Yeah.
samurai ability fits Cam pretty well.
And not for nothing, his suit was fucking sick.
It was a pretty Diesel Green Ranger suit. And then they like did something with the like his helmet could like turn around and go
Spin. Yep.
backwards, and like he ripped off the shield that he had to kind of look like the
That
rest of the
was
Rangers.
Super Samurai mode. He sheds his gold fucking armor and the helmet turns around and he's like, I'm a badass motherfucker now.
Although it kind of
Slice.
looks like a kiwi bird, like
Yes.
that weird. But they're in New Zealand, so I guess that kind of makes sense.
Huh. I never made
But
that
not that it was
connection.
designed that way, because
Yeah.
that Sentai had been done probably years before.
And his Megazord was freaking sick.
Yeah,
The
man, it was
helicopter.
the hell. Yeah, it was. I remember him always just like hanging from the rope.
Yep.
There's a lot of filler episodes in this season where not a lot of the episodes had to do with the main story arc. It was a lot of just like, okay, we've got some monsters here, we got some monsters there. As a kid, Shane ended up saving a ball of light in the forest. Uh, and then there's this like dark energy called Vexicus that is essentially kind of like haunting him. So as an adult, he meets this person named Skyla, which he's, I guess, kind of attracted to, but also just like saves because he's a Power Ranger, who turned out to be that same ball of light that Shane saved when he was a kid. So he ended up getting new powers from her, kind of becomes a battleizer. uh,
Yes. This was a dope battleizer.
yeah, so the battleizer that he gets is essentially just like solid armor. It really pops the gold off of the red of his suit, and it's not like overly bulky and unnecessary like some of the other
Mm-hmm.
uh, battleizers we've had in the past.
Yeah, no, this is cool as hell. I love the chest armor, how it's got his like element symbol in the middle of it, the head or the head of the motorcycle on his left hand, and then the sword in the right hand with the wings and the leg armor. Phenomenal.
Yeah, man. It was definitely, like I said, one of the better of the battleizers that we've seen. At one point, Cam unlocks an electric guitar that controls a mammoth Zord because Cam is secretly a guitar player? Question mark. That was an interesting episode. During one of the episodes, Tori had like a weird, like Wizard of Oz fever dream type thing. Okay, so like she's surfing and she wipes out and she has like some sort of fever dream where like the Power Rangers are bad and like Lothar is the good guy. And essentially, Tori takes on the Power Rangers 4-1 and comes out essentially kicking their ass. So, like, proving why she was the one from this team to get called back when they needed to put together a team for the Operation Overdrive
Yes,
crossover, proving why she needed to be in that. Speaking of, though, there was no crossover episode for this season.
that's right.
Season beforehand was before it was Wild Force, and that was
Yeah.
right before Disney got the rights to everything. So there wasn't, I guess, enough forethought and planning for all of that. Question
Wild
mark.
Force was great.
I mean, they did give us the one of the best crossover episodes with Forever
Oh,
Red. So
dude, that's the only one that matters.
for the finale, it turns out that like Cam's having some issues with his little morpher ball, and that is reacting to Lothar's big plan of wanting to open the abyss of evil. Cam goes up and starts to fight against Lothar. Lothar destroys their base, and in the process of destroying the base, Lothar's energy and the Sensei's energies combine again, and we finally get an un-guinea pigged Sensei. Lothar gets his own Megazord and starts using that to fight. The Wind Rangers sacrifice their Megazord to like take down Lothar's Megazord, and then this abyss opens up, and the Rangers have to refight every bad guy that they fought the entire season at once. And needless to say, they come out fucking killing it. Killing it! In the process of this, Lothar ends up taking Cam's amulet as well as all of their ranger powers, essentially. So they still have whatever like ninja powers they had, but whatever ranger forms they had are gone. And he essentially like takes that into the abyss with him. And after they essentially kick his ass, they don't get their powers back. So their ranger powers are essentially destroyed with their big bad for the season. The season ends with the three Power Rangers graduating from the Wind Academy, and they start to be the teachers for the next generation of ninjas. Hunter, who was the Crimson Ranger, he's the new sensei at the Thunder Academy, which is where they grew up training. I guess Blake pretty much just pursues Tori. They have their first like blue on blue Ranger relationship, and Cam just kind of watches over everybody, kind of like he has been doing this whole season.
I'm gonna say 7 out of 10 for this season.
Oh yeah, easily a 7 out of 10.
I'll even say 7.5. I'll give it a 7.5 out of 10.
I would say I would keep it 7 just because there were some filler episodes that we could have done a little bit more
Yeah.
story wise with. I don't mind if episodes are just kind of like there, but give them sort of a reason. Make it a two-parter if you have to kind of build the story a little bit more. But overall, solid 7.
Casting wise, fantastic choices for everybody.
There was not
No.
anybody who I really had any issues with. The like unnecessary nieces of Lothar, just like
Yeah, they were weird.
could have done without you. And especially with one of them coming back the next season to play, I think it was like Cassidy in Dino Thunder. She was like one of the kids that went to school with the Rangers.
Wait.
Yeah. One of Lothar's nieces came back the next season to be the like bitchy mean girl who had that one like reporter henchman that were
Dino Thunder.
Yeah.
That was one of the nieces?
Yep.
Get the fuck out of here.
Nope, that was one of them was.
Huh. The more you know.
Yeah.
Before we end the episode, there was only one downside to this season, and that was the untimely passing of the Red Ranger.
Yeah, actor Pua Magasiva, R.I.P. dude. We appreciate what you bring to this season, and the season would not be the same without you.
We don't really get serious on this show a lot, and I'm going to break that for a minute. Suicide's a real thing. Mental health issues are a real thing. If you have issues with that stuff, please talk about it. Don't try to do it on your own. Don't feel like you're a burden. And all joking aside, you're not alone. I suffer from it. Leo has his issues as well. It's scary, and it does not discriminate. You know what I mean? There's a line you can text. I think the hotline is there. You can text about it now, but reach out. This is now the second Ranger that we've lost to suicide. The first being JDF, which still does not sit right. But like I said, reach out, ask for help, be honest about how you feel, and it's okay to not be okay, but it's not okay to not want to get better from not being okay. But now that we've got the sad stuff out of the way, let's end this episode on a high note. From us here at Ranger Rabble, the Nerd Daddy Productions, I'm Kyle D.
I'm Leo V.
Take
we
care.
Will catch you guys on the next one.
Ninja Storm.
Ranger
Form.
Ha!